A lot of us really want to get to know young people, but it's hard sometimes to know where to start. My friend Kim had this amazing ability to know people quickly. She'd come home from work and she'd ride the bus home, and she'd always come home saying, "You just wouldn't believe the person I met on the bus today." And she'd go on to tell these fascinating stories about these strangers who had opened up to her in a bus ride. Day after day she said this, and finally I said to her, "Kim, do you ever wonder why you always get to sit next to the most fascinating person on the bus?" And she said, "I'm just lucky, I guess." I don't think it's luck. I think it's Kim being able to ask really great questions. It's something that we need to learn with teenagers, is not to interrogate, not to interview, not to quiz them, but to be able to actually engage in finding the treasure that God sees them as. So it's a treasure hunt. That's what it's about. So let me give you some ideas for treasure hunting. Here's the first one. It has to start somewhere. So my idea for you is to start in 4 places. Ask them questions, number 1, about family. That's F. I'm going to give you this word form, F-O-R-M. So start asking questions about family. A lot of kids don't live with their parents, and it's a bit of an awkward situation because you're not really sure who these people are in their house. And that's a great place to start. So how about saying, "Who lives in your house with you? Tell me about that." That's a great place to start with questions. And the second place is O, occupation. For kids, that has to do with where they go every day, the things that they do that they don't necessarily choose to, and for them that's school. Ask them about school. Ask them how they feel about school. Ask them about the things that actually frustrate them about school, or the places that they really feel like school fits for them. R. R stands for recreation. And recreation is the things they do that they want to do. For kids, it can look like all sorts of different things, but a great question to start with is, if you won $1,000, what would you do with it? If you had to spend it in a week, how would you spend it? That'll tell you about the kinds of things that a kid just likes to do. So those are just 3 places to start when you're just beginning, but the 4th place is M, and M is motivation. And that's where you want to go. Motivation is the stuff that pushes us and pulls us along as we go through life. And so when we're thinking about motivation, we're asking why questions. So why do you do that with your time? Why would you spend your money that way? What are their values? What are the things that kind of push them along or pull them forward in life? Those are 4 great questions that you can ask when you're starting to get to know a young person. Couple other things though. One of them is, make sure your questions are open-ended. That means the kind of question that you can't answer with just one word. How old are you? 14. Conversation's over. But if you say something like, "Tell me about," and then fill in the blanks, you'll have a better chance of moving into a conversation rather than an interview. Another thing is to be sure that you're asking about what things mean to them. You're not just gathering content, but you're finding what that content means to them. So you're asking things like, well, how did that affect you? So tell me about your day at school, and they tell you a story, and then you follow that up with, how did that affect you? That's finding out about how they're interpreting life, not just what's happening to them. You know, the thing that goes around all of these is that you can ask the best questions in the world, but if you don't listen, it's not going to make a lot of difference. So ask great questions, but listen. Let them know you're listening. You're listening to see the treasure that they are, the treasure that God sees them as.